together. And you might remember this knot from making bracelets as a kid. If you ever did that, you probably didn't know it was macrame. I know I didn't. But you're going to take the one on the left and make a 4 and place this one over the 2 in the middle. It's laying over. And then you're going to take the one on the right and you're going to go over, under the 2, and then under and up this part of the 4. And now you're going to slowly pull both ends while keeping the middle ones straight and pull it tight. Let's see, my tape doesn't really work there, but that's okay. So that's the first half of the square knot. And now we're going to do the opposite of what we did before. We're going to start on the right. You're going to do a backwards 4. And then you're going to go over, under, and up, and pull both ends. Pull it tight. I'm just going to get rid of this. So now we have 1 square knot, which is this amount right here. So this keychain has 6 square knots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can kind of count that by how many loops are on the side here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if you can't keep track and you just tied and you're like, oh, I don't know where I'm at, this one, you can count the loops on the side. But otherwise, each square knot kind of has this sideways V. So I'm going to do another square knot. Actually,
Anne, can you just go back and repeat that last knot one more time? We had a couple people asking for that.
Yep. Yeah, I'll definitely show the knot again. I plan on repeating things. So, okay, so I'll get to the spiral knot next if you guys wanted to do the spiral. So don't worry, I can back up and do that for those who want to do the spiral. But, so then to do this flatter design, just square knots, you start by taking the left one and making a 4. And then you're going to take the one on the right and go over, under the 2 in the middle, and then under and up this part of the 4. And you want to pull both ends, the left and right, at about equal tension while keeping the middle ones straight. Just pull that tight. So that's the first half. And then you're going to start with the right side. So every other time you pull a knot, you're going to switch which side you start on. And if you can't remember, say you got distracted, you can't remember which side you just did, the way you can tell is whichever side this loop is on is the side that you should start on next. So now I know I still have the second half of the knot, and then you start on the right, you do backwards 4, take the left one and go over, under the 2 in the middle, under and up, and pull that tight. And that's how you do the square knot. I did allow a little extra rope in the kit, so if you wanted to make it maybe a tad longer, you can, but stop knotting once you have like 6 inches of rope, and then we need to add the bead if you want to add the bead, and then do the last gathering knot. So you can keep tying until you get to maybe 6, 7, 8 knots until you have enough rope left to do this section. So I'm going to show how to do the spiral knot for those who want to do the spiral knot. I'm just going to continue on what I have here. So basically, the spiral knot is just starting on the same side for each time you tie. So instead of switching off, you're going to just keep starting on the left or keep starting on the right, whichever one you start on. But I'm going to do the left. So same order of steps. You make a 4 and pull it tight, and then I'm going to start on the left again, and you'll start seeing it spiral on its own. So in a way, this one's probably easier since you're just repeating the exact same thing over and over. And then sometimes once it starts twisting on you, you gotta rotate with it. But you're always using the same piece that you start with for each time. And you will notice when you do this knot, that one of your pieces of rope will be longer than the other, so it will limit like how long you can make your keychain, but I allowed enough so that you guys can make it about a good 7-inch keychain. Anything longer than that is probably just a little too long for a keychain. But okay, so once you get the hang of it, you probably don't even have to think through all the steps. But this is a nice project for kids. I did this at the Pinners Conference last year at the Minneapolis Convention Center at my booth, and you know, kids as young as probably 5 were doing it. It's a good project that doesn't require a lot of materials, and kids can do it too. Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit further because I have a little bit more rope. If you wanted to practice both knots, you could do it like I did and have a combo. It's a little different, but what's nice about macrame is you can undo it super easily and redo it if you want to practice again. Okay, so I think I'm gonna add my bead now. I like the bead at the bottom, but maybe if you wanted it in the middle, you could put it in the middle or at the top, whatever. You can do, put as many beads as you want. And you can get wooden beads. I guess I should talk about where you get macrame string too, but you can get wooden beads at Hobby Lobby, on Amazon, almost any craft store. But you do want to make sure for this that you have a bead with a larger hole. And this is called macrame string. So I'm using a 5mm string here, and then for the smaller keychain, it's just a 2mm string. I prefer macrame string over macrame rope, but I mean, you can tie these knots with any type of rope or cord. And you can get it on Amazon, but I like to get it from different Etsy shops. Okay, so to add the bead, you're going to take the 2 strings in the middle and kind of twist them together. I really don't think you need a needle for any of this. The trick is that you twist them together and then you twist the bead on, and that will help get your rope through. And then once you get it on enough, you just pull the ends and slide the bead up. And then I'm going to tie one more knot underneath the bead before we do the gathering knot. So I'm just going to do 4, same thing. We just got a bead in the middle there. You just pull it tight like that. Okay. Now, I'm just going to undo this. I'm going to take the 15-inch piece and we're going to do a gathering knot. So this one I'll repeat a couple times because it is a little tricky. Maybe I'll wait a bit to catch up on people still tying their knots. Are there any questions? Let's see. Not right now. Okay. So all you're gonna do is, I'm left-handed. I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna hold this in my left hand, and I'm gonna take one end of the 15-inch piece and hold it up with my thumb in the direction towards the beginning of the keychain. And then you're going to make a loop like this so that there's a loop facing towards the end of your keychain. And then what you're going to do is take this rest of the piece and wrap it around probably 4 times, doesn't matter. You can make gathering knots as short as long as you want, whatever the look you like. And so I'm going to wrap down towards the end of the keychain. So I have 1, 2, so you're going to kind of coil it around so that you're wrapping not over anything that you just wrapped, but like down it, if that makes sense. So it looks like that. And then you put this end, once you're done wrapping, through the loop that we formed in the beginning. And then you're gonna pull the short end that you left up here by the bead and pull both ends here. And then that's your gathering knot. So I'm gonna redo it before I cut things. So if you don't like how it looks, if you didn't wrap tight enough, it's kind of bubbly, just slide it off here. Except since I did it kind of tight, that's a little hard. And then I'm just gonna undo this. Which actually is kind of hard to do once if you did it tight. Okay. So there we go. Again, you're going to hold your keychain in one hand and then take one end of the 15-inch piece and hold it up by the bead. And it's important to leave a little bit there because remember we're pulling this at the end, so you need to leave enough that you're gonna pull. Don't leave it too long because I didn't give enough for you to leave a ton. So now you're gonna fold it and make a little loop down here and make it at least 2 inches, 3 inches. You just need it to be long enough, longer than the length that your gathering knot's gonna be. So if this is just 3/4 of an inch, you just need to leave it at least a 1/2 inch longer than that. So I have a loop down here. I'm gonna take my right hand and wrap this piece around and around. Again, you can do it as many times as you want. And once you like how long it is, you can put the end through the loop and then pull this guy up by the bead a little bit here. And then you're gonna kind of want to hold on to both and pull the one by the bead. So now you have the rope loop tunneling through the gathering knot, and then this guy is snug in the loop, so he's not going to come out. And we're going to end up doing this knot again on the second keychain, so I'll demo it again then. But now you're going to cut the end up by the bead. Don't cut it too crazy short, just, you know, so that it's not sticking out. And then you can cut this whatever length you want it to be. I like to at least make them all even. And then I kind of like the look of the about 2-inch tassel, because this tassel can get kind of crazy over time when you're using it. So the shorter it is, the less like mangled it's going to be. So now if you have a comb at home, I like to fray it, but it will kind of fray on itself over time too if you don't want to use a comb. But this is a cute look. So then I'll just spray it with a comb, and then I like to give it a final trim. So that they're all perfectly even. And that's that. This one ended up being a little longer since I was doing a few knots, but yeah. Now we're gonna make the smaller one. Just wanted to show you guys, you know, that you can use a variety of thicknesses of string. And this one, I'm just gonna do the square knots because it has so many beads in it. I think the square knots will look cuter than the spiral knots, but same thing as before. You have two 50-inch pieces of string in your kit. And you're going to take one and fold it in half and do a lark's head knot. And take the other one and do the same thing. Now, even with these basic knots, you could, once you get the hang of things, you could step up the challenge a little bit and add more string and do a different pattern. There's tons of ideas out there for keychain designs. You could do like a zigzag square knot pattern kind of thing, and there's other macrame knots obviously out there that make cute keychains. So there's really a lot to play with macrame. And even if you don't want to do a like large wall hanging, there's so many different things you could do with just making keychains, which is fun. And it's a nice small car ride project, or I mean, I've even crafted on a plane before, but I mean, we're not traveling right now, so but if you're doing a car ride thing, or like to stay busy if you're on the boat, I'm always crafting, so maybe it's just me. But I'm gonna do a square knot again. So if you're just joining now, I can demo how to do the square knot. So you're gonna take the 4 pieces that you have, separate them with the 2 in the middle sitting next to each other, and make a square knot. So we're gonna start on the left and make a 4. So this is laying over. And then you're going to take the one on the right and go over, under the 2 in the middle, and then under and up this part of the 4, and pull it tight. I know we're so tiny now. Maybe I should zoom in. I'm so sorry. Gosh. Okay. Am I good? Okay. Oh, that was a fail. Okay, so now I'm going to start on the right to do the second half of the knot, make a backwards 4. This is laying over the ones in the middle. Note, you're going to take the one on the left, go over, under, and up, pull it tight. Got the little sideways V going on. And just another tip again to do square knot if you aren't sure which side to start on next. It's whichever side has this vertical loop. So I did a full knot and now I can see, oh, this loop is on the left. That means I start on the left now. But I'm going to actually add my first small bead, and these guys are little. But again, the tip is to twist the ends together. If you have to trim it a little because maybe they got, I don't know, a little too frayed, then trim it a little. But now you're gonna just push the bead and twist it on. Like that. Go through. You don't have to add the beads if you're having trouble getting them on. Now I'm going to do 2 square knots to do this pattern right here. So I'm going to start on the left, go 4, over, under, and up. And you just want those strings that are going around the bead to be fairly close to the bead. You're not yanking too hard, but just so that it's snug in there. And then I started on the right, and I was gonna do 2, so same knots as before. Okay, so I did 2. You can do as many as you want, whatever you like the look of. So take my bead and twist it on. If you can't get them both through for some reason, you can always split the rope that's in the middle here in half and take parts of them and put them with these guys so that you have a little bit thicker going around the bead and a thinner tunnel going through the bead. But if you're just working with whatever beads you have, but again, I recommend if you can get beads with a larger hole, those are nice. You just search wood bead with large hole and whatever size you need, and they exist, which is awesome. So I just did 2 square knots again. I'm just gonna add another bead. This guy. When the hole is tiny, sometimes you can just put it on the tip of your scissors, because sometimes these beads just have like the opening looks small, but it's actually bigger than it is. So that helps. Open up the hole there. Twist the bead on. And a lot of needles actually don't even work for this, because if you have a yarn needle that the rope can go through, often like the hole in the needle is too big to go through these beads. So it's really easiest to just twist them on. So I'm gonna do square knots again. Now I'm going to add my last bead. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to do, let's see, one more square knot. And I'm going to take this guy out of the tape. I'm going to just trim it a little bit here because these are so long. And now I'm going to do my gathering knot. Sometimes it can be fun to do a contrast color here. So I like to use the same thickness of rope. So I'm not going to grab the mustard that I just used, but it could be fun to do a chunk, you know, most of your keychain in one color and then a little pop of color at the end. So again, to do a gathering knot, you're going to hold the keychain in your non-dominant hand and take one end of your 15-inch piece and hold it up by the bead. And then you're going to fold it and make a loop here facing towards the end of your keychain. And we're going to take the long end now and wrap it around everything down here that you're holding together. 1, 2, 3. You want it decently tight here, but you're not hurting yourself to pull it super tight. I just did like a 1/2 inch, probably 5 or 6 times around, but up to you. I'd recommend at least 4 times around. And pull the end up by the bead and while holding onto this end down here. And it looks like that. And this video is going up on YouTube, so you guys can watch it again. So that's awesome. So if you need to see anything another time, otherwise, you can also message me on Facebook or Instagram. I do prefer probably Instagram. I'm on there all the time. My Instagram is @AnneCops, ANNECOPS. So you can follow me for macrame inspiration, or I sell different kits like the keychain kits, and I also do other virtual workshops too. So I'm going to fray it with the comb. I'm going to give it a little trim again. There we go. And that's it. So in this workshop, you learned how to do a lark's head knot, a square knot, a spiral knot, and a gathering knot, which are all super basic knots in macrame. And you can really do so many different things with them to get different looks for different projects. And if you enjoyed learning these knots, I encourage you to learn more about macrame, maybe get a book. There's so many other knots out there. It's a fun, relaxing hobby that I really love. It's my favorite fiber art of all the fiber art that I do right now.
Anne, we do have one question. Could you show the spiral knot again, possibly?
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to undo this guy because I have my rope here. I'm going to grab a new piece of rope. Okay. So you're going to hold on to all the rope that's hanging from your keychain together because you're going to be wrapping them together. And you're going to take the long extra piece of rope. You need at least 12 inches, but I cut them at 15. And you're going to leave at least maybe an inch up here so that you can pull it at the end, enough for you to grab. And just hold it with your thumb over the bunch of rope gathered together, facing the bead. And you're going to fold it and make a loop here so that the loop is facing towards the end. And then you're going to hold it all together and wrap this piece around at least 3 or 4 times so that it's secure. And then I'm done wrapping, and now I'm going to put the end through the loop that I formed at the beginning. Pull this guy a little bit, and then you got to hold this guy while you pull it a little tighter so that it's nice and snug. And then when you're done with that, you cut the end that's going up towards the bead, and then I like to keep this guy even with the rest of the rope. I don't cut that one short. And that's that. So that's how you do your gathering knot. And you don't need any glue at all. If it's tight enough, it won't come off on you. Unless you use this for years and years, maybe. But yeah, it's a very secure knot in macrame. So that's how you do it. Are there any other final questions? Most macrame string is 100% cotton, which is great. I recommend fabric shears if you're gonna do a lot of macrame. They cut better. They cut cotton better. And yeah, if you have any questions on like where to buy rope or anything, you can message me on Instagram or on my Facebook page, Meraki Handmade Decor. Meraki is Meraki. You can find the Facebook event for this workshop, and I'm a co-host, so you can find my page easily there. But yeah, that's how you make a macrame keychain. And we learned 4 knots, which is amazing. And it takes some practice. Macrame does take some practice, so I encourage you to rewatch it on YouTube if you need to. Make a nice gift for someone if you're looking for a small gift to handmade. Let's see, is there any questions?
Great, and if that's all, we hope that you will join us next week for a painting demo. Anne, is there anything else you want to share? Some of your favorite Etsy shops you get the string from, or anything like that? Otherwise, we can end the program today.
I'd say one of my favorites is Neuroma Studio, and you can message me for a link and I can get you 15% off on your first order. Otherwise, there's different Instagram accounts that it's like Homemade Macrame or Careless Threads, but really feel free to reach out to me and I can help you if you want to get some materials. That's it. Thank you guys for joining me. I hope this was a nice little distraction from your day, and let me know if you loved it.